in a single player game, doesn't really matter. So the person who's first player gets an extra turn, essentially. They get to place this little guy up on the base camp over here and get one of those actions. So as first person, you'll get 3 meeple or 3 little guys to place on the board. You can do 1 here for the white guy, and then your other 2, you can place them on other parts of the board, and you can even place them here to get another action right there. All right, so every turn is kind of similar. So the first thing that you do is you go and you do the event phase. So first thing that you do is you take the first event card over here and you turn it over. So let's see what this guy brings us. So first thing that we do is we look up here at the weather. So this is either going to be sunny or it's going to be stormy. If it's sunny, we take our track up there and we move our white cube to the right. If it's stormy, we move to the left. So let's do that right here. So we take him, we start off on the largest tile here, largest square, and we move to the right. So that really doesn't do anything for us right now. It's still sunny, it's still nice, it doesn't hurt us. The next thing that we do is we look at this number up here. So this is 5 and up. So this basically says this something essentially wash up on the beach. So if there's 5 or more cubes, black cubes, you see we've got 6 over here. If there's 5 or more, and there are, because we have 6, then you just take one of them and you put it here if there's none here already. So that's how things wash up on the beach. And we got a little bit of flavor text. If the weather is sunny or better, all castaways make a secret wish. At the end of the game, the winner's wish will come true. So sometimes there'll be different effects. I guess it's really not flavor text. There'll be different effects and so forth that you have to carry out immediately. Then on these over here, these are the things that you need at the end of the game in order to be rescued. So for this particular card, just to explain it real quick, this is the bonfire, the help written in the sand, I don't know if that's a spyglass or something like that, and it looks like some kind of journal or whatever. So that's this guy over here. So this is done, so we'll put this off on the side. So that was the events phase. And there, again, we did the weather, we did the shipwreck part over there, and we also did the effect, which here was really nothing. Okay, then the next thing is the action phase. So for the first player, they get to place their white meeple. So I'm going to take this little guy over here, and I'll place him over here to get my little, let's call it a chicken leg. So I get a chicken leg personally. So I just like to put it over here on top of my card to know that I have that. So after you place that that white marker on the camp card, that effect happens immediately. By the way, I forgot to mention that. Then the players go around in turn order and they start placing their people on the leftmost spaces. So I've got 2 players over here and I'm going to want to place them out on the board. So I've got a couple of things that I really need to do. So first thing, I really need to get that campfire lit, because when you're resting at the end of the game, the campfire helps you recover an extra point of energy. So I need to get that guy lit as soon as possible. Another thing to consider is that I might need something in here. If I can find a lighter in there, hey, it makes lighting the campfire a heck of a lot easier. So I definitely want to go in there. I'll also need wood. I'll need wood for the campfire. So I've got 1 wood and 1 food over here. I might want to start catching food right away. Up here is the foraging for food. I'm good, okay. I've got 1 on my card and I got this one. So I'm good for now. I don't think I'll do that. So wood, maybe, probably not. This writing in the diary for victory points, that I can't say it's super important in a solo game, but you know, in a multiplayer game, it's definitely important because again, whoever has the most of those tiles at the end of the game, if you get off of the island, they're the winner. But one other thing that they give you that I forgot to mention earlier is that you can actually discard those for rerolls, which can be kind of important throughout the game. Because if you get a really bad roll, it gives you a chance to kind of recover from a really, really nasty roll. And I've had some really nasty rolls in this game for sure. So I really don't have enough to build a shelter right now. I could also start exploring the island. That might be kind of nice because it helps you get towards the inner part of the island over there to the highlands. So here, let's see. What I'll probably do is, here, I'll do this. So I'll put a guy here for going through the deck here, and I'll put a guy here for the campfire. So at that point there, basically you go through and every player places all their meeples. You can't do the same action twice, except if it's resting. I believe you can do that. And so you go from there, and you start resolving these things. And what you do is you work your way left to right, top down. So you would start up here and work your way down left to right. That means that this action here happens first before lighting the campfire. So let me readjust my character here real quick. Get him back up on 10. So let's see what happens over here. So I'm going to take this cube off. So I've essentially gone through this and I draw the top 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I have a decision to make. I basically go through these and see what I want to keep. So canned food, take 2 food and discard this card. So we got 2 of those. Or sail, big canvas cloth that can be used to improve your shelter or build a raft. Add 1 sail tile to the storage and discard this card. This one's pretty good if you're going to be building all the way up to the high shelters. Oh, there's 2 of them. I did a really good job shuffling. And ink. The player takes his card, has the last bottle of ink. The rest of the players can't get story points until they find another way to get their own ink. Add card 2 to the camp. So if I take this one over here, then I would go through that deck up there and add card number 2 to the camp. So, let's see. What I think I'm going to do is, I need this here, maybe for later on in the game. So I'll take a sail and I'll do a canned food. Why not? So this will cost me 2 energy and this will cost me 1 energy additional. Then these 3 essentially get removed from the game. I'll put them up here. And then these cards go over by me. So I'll place them here. Let's say this is my play area. And I would go through, add 1 sail to the storage area right there. I'll discard this card, then take 2 food, put 2 more food here on my character and discard this card. Actually, so we discarded everything. That's cool. And because of that, so it cost me 2 plus 1, so I lose 3. So I go 1, 2, 3. So now I have 4 energy. So now at this point, I go through and I resolve the next one, which is the campfire. So with the campfire, I need to choose how much energy I'm going to expend, because it's question mark. And I will do 3. So I basically have to roll 1, 2, or 3, and that'll light the campfire. Let's see what happens. Let's see how good my roll is. Oh, it's not good at all. So I did not successfully light the campfire, but I lose 3 points. Oh, that's a big bummer. So that right there is essentially the end of my turn. And from this point, we go through and we go into the survival phase. So this can be a rather painful phase in the game. First thing that you do is you do a feeding. So with the feeding, if in the storage area, let's say you have a bigger numbered one, let's say like this 3. So if you got the food tile with the 3, what you do is you convert those to white cubes, and you do this as such. Take this off. So the white cubes are food. Now they're perishable food. These little fish, chicken legs or whatever, those survive from turn to turn. The white cubes go bad, so eat them or lose them, essentially. Okay, so first thing that happens is the food is distributed amongst all of the players. So in a one-player game, this would essentially all come to me. So we'll use this as my food storage over here. And now at this point, you have 2 options. You can choose to eat the food and gain 1 energy for each cube that you eat, or you can return it or give it to another player for them to eat. So this is one way on how you can recover your points. So since these 3 are going to go bad immediately, of course, I definitely want to eat these right away. So this will bump me up 1, 2, 3, and I'll eat 1 more. So I'll go here. Heck with it. I'll eat another one. So it takes me up to 6, and I'll hang on to those for a rainy day, because I'm sure there will be a rainy day soon enough. So I just recovered myself back up to 6. So if you don't have any foods to eat, what happens is you lose 1 energy and you gain 2 of these white guys, these 2 energy guys. In this case, it would bump me down, and I put these 2 up on the top. But since I did eat, I am good. And after that, we do the rest phase. And here, this is where the campfire is important. If the campfire is lit, then you remove the wood token that's on it. If there was no wood token on it, the fire goes out. That sucks. So sad. If the campfire is lit, every person recovers 1 additional energy in addition to the food that you just ate. And if you don't have it lit, which is our case here because the fire is extinguished because I wasn't able to light it, then what happens is everybody loses 1 energy. So I'm back down to 5. That's kind of a downer. So that's the end of the turn. The final part of this over here is you resolve injuries. So if we had any injuries, you'd roll a die for every 1. So you roll a die, 1 die for every injury. For every 1 that you get a trauma cube, which is permanent. And then at this point, you remove any food that rots over there, and the start player changes, and you start all over. So here, we'll go through another turn, and I'll do a couple different actions just to give you a little bit more of a taste of how it goes. So I'll take my pieces off of the board here. So I got all those. So again, first thing that you do is you place your character out. So let's see. I will do, oh, here it is. So if your next action is exploration action, don't pay the energy for it and receive 1 story point, because the explore action costs 1 except for the last person there. So we'll do that, and then put this guy here because we will explore. And what else should we do? Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we did that first, and then we draw an event card. So what do we got here? So we got sun. Bump this over. Oh, look at that. We lost 1 point. So when it scorches, everybody drops down. So I'm down to 4. If there's 1 or more black cubes in line, then drop 1 down. So we have 5. So we satisfied that. So that's a good number for us. And here we go. If the weather is scorching and the campfire is lit, the shelter gets burnt, returning it to its previous level. This means roll a die, and you lose as many wood tokens from the storage, which is this guy right here, as a result of the roll. Well, we don't have a shelter, so we don't need to worry about this one over here, and we can proceed. So we got that there. So actually what we'll do this time around is we will explore there, and we'll go here, and let's see how that works out for us. Actually, I won't do that. Let's do a rest. I'll just choose this one over here. Okay. So we go through and we do resolution of that. Okay. So first thing that we do is rest action. So being that I'm sleeping on the beach, I recover 1 energy and I get to remove 1 injury token, which I don't have. So I'm back up to 5. So here on the exploration part right there, I don't have to pay 1 because of this card here. And I get to receive 1 story point token. So you take these and you put them face down in front of you so nobody sees what it is. Let's see what we drew. 3. Fantastic. Now I can discard this to reroll. So we put that there. And now we get to go here on this exploration board. And exactly how does this work? So first off, we've got spaces down here for unresolved cards. So some cards, we might not resolve them right away, so we just put them down here, and there's spots for 4 of them. This track right here is the return track. And there's this little marker here that starts off on the 4. And this is what we have to roll to be able to return or to find our way back to camp. So if it's on a 4, I roll 2d6, I roll 2 dice, and I have to roll this number or greater than or equal to that. So here I'd have to roll 4 or more in order to get back to camp safely. In this case over here, you can re-roll by expending 1 energy. If you go all the way down to 0, then you can't re-roll anymore, of course, and you are officially lost. So if you get lost, you place this guy on the spot over here, and then this actually can drop down per turn and get easier as you go. So this is where we're at. We're at the beginning right here, and we're going to try to work our way up this path all the way to the summit of this hill, which is called the Highlands. We've got the beach right here, or the coast. We've got the interior, and we've got the Highlands over there. And they correspond to these sets of cards. Now these numbers over here, what those do is at the end of the game, depending on where you are at, you draw that many story points over here. So if you're up, let's say on this spot over here, you get to draw 3 of those. So the further along you are, the more points you'll score at the end of the game. So the first thing that we do since I started exploring is I will explore the coast because that's where I'm at. So here we've got our first card. Coconut palm. It's got this symbol right up here. What this symbol means is advance this track right here by 1. There's other ones over here that shows a little foot symbol. That means you move your cube up the track over there. And there's a third one, story points. So that's, you get story points for that card. So what does this one say? If we can focus in on that. So we get a little bit of flavor text up over there on the top. Once in a while the jungle presented us with its fruits. Coconuts were difficult to open, but they were filled with delicious pulp and refreshing water. If the exploration group agrees to lose 1 energy per explorer, add 2 food tokens. So those are the chits to the supply, and 1 food to the storage. Okay. I think for this one over here, I will not do that. So I need my energy for other purposes. So all this does is it bumps us from 4 to 5. So at this point, I can go through and either A, continue exploring, or I can return to camp. I'll continue exploring. Okay, first thing here, this bumps up our track here 1 more, so we're up at 6. And he says, I found a beach inhabited by hundreds of giant tortoises. When I learned how to cook them all, I realized they were a delicacy. Add 2 food to the supply. So just add 2 to the supply right there. So we got supply and we got storage, 2 different things. You forage to get those up there, and these are food that you have available to you. And of course I've got the food that I own myself. So right now I need to roll a 6 on 2 dice, 6 or more to get back. I'll push my luck. I'll go again. This bumps me up 1 more. I go 7. And this says, strange berries. Sometimes we were forced to run the risk. That's why we ate the fruits that grew on the island, knowing that some of them were as deadly as the worst poisons. If you find a bunch of appetizing berries, if you decide to eat them, roll a die. If you get a 1, you lose all energy and you receive 1 injury. Oh, that's no good. 2 or 3, you lose 1 energy. 4, 5, 6, you receive 1 food. Add 1 food to the storage and take 1 story point. I won't do this one either. We'll skip it and heck with it. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. All right, finally what we've been waiting for. So this is one of our randomization ones. See, it's got the 0 up on the top. Electrical storm, it's got a foot. What that means is we get to advance up 1. Okay, flavor text. Big flashes of lightning lit the sky. One of them struck someplace on the island. Add card 84 to the interior of the island. Roll 2 dice. If double 1s, you get struck by lightning, suffering 2 injuries. Okay, so at this point, we go through here, we find card 84. So here's card 84, which is smoke. It says add card 85 to the heart. So, so this goes to the interior of the island. So there's its back, and let's do a quick shuffle. You saw me shuffle that, right? And then roll 2d6 If double ones, you get struck by lightning, suffering 2 injuries. So this we have to do. It's not optional. So I got a 1 and a 3. Did not get hit by lightning. So that's fantastic. And then we discard this. And so you continue through there. So you're basically... oh, let me try to get back from here. So I'm done. So now I have to return to camp. So I need to roll a 7 or higher. So I rolled a 7. I lucked out big time. So I'm now back in camp, at which point we go through the survival piece, which is feeding again. So we take food tiles in storage, convert them to cubes. Right now there's none in there, so we're good. At this point, I have to eat my food, so I'm going to eat 1 chicken leg, which bumps me up 1. And then rest. So here, the campfire is not lit, so that drops me down 1 to 5 over here. And we go to the end of the turn. If I have injuries, which I don't, at this point you would roll for the 1s again and convert them to traumas. But I don't have to worry about that. And then food rots, player passes, solo player, we don't have to worry about that. And we take care of the campfire, which is not lit to begin with, so we don't need to deal much with that. So the game continues like this, and I found it to be extremely thematic. I really enjoy this game. It's a big balance of energy over here, because energy is kind of like your currency in the game, because everything costs you energy. Your actions cost you energy. As stuff happens with these cards over here, it costs you energy. You have to try to return back to the camp. If you can't, it costs you energy. Then you get injuries. You have to recover from your injuries. You don't want the traumas, because then you just can't recover as far enough. Eventually, somewhere at some point in the game, you'll become lost in here. Everything that happens back in the camp kind of gets lost. Your campfire can get extinguished very extremely easily. So you're trying to do all these different things to advance yourself, to explore. You want to try to explore up here because you need to get to the summit in order to trigger the end game. As soon as you get up here, you decide, does a turn end right then and there, or does it end on the next turn? Anybody who's not back at camp, they're not rescued. So if they're lost, then they're not rescued, which isn't cool, I guess, to be stuck on an island when everybody else gets rescued. Then you have the events, which some are kind of bad. They hurt you. So you just recovered some from resting, and then all of a sudden you lose what you gained on your last turn. And it's a fantastic game. It's so extremely thematic. And as you go through these exploration cards over here, you keep adding more and more of these to the different decks. You add some of these over to the event deck. You add some of them to this deck here. You add them to these 3 decks. And just so much happens. You get different items. One of my favorite items is a lighter. It makes lighting that campfire a snap. You don't have to expend all that energy. And that campfire is just brutal sometimes, because you just can't afford to lose an energy at the end of every round. You eat your food, you gain energy like you saw here, and you lose it right away. So you're no better off than you were just a little bit ago. But like I said, the game is very thematic, and it's kind of tough to get, especially in a solo game. Just the amount of stuff that you need to accomplish all by yourself, and to balance that energy track is pretty intense. So I really love this game. It is fantastic, thematic. and I definitely recommend it. I hope this helps you guys out a little bit, at least seeing how a couple of turns happen, in particular the setup with how you separate the cards out, just because it's a little weird. When you, at least when I was reading the instruction manual, it was a little weird how it was just explained. But once I figured it out, you know, like I said earlier, once you understand how the game plays, the instruction book makes a lot of sense. So it's got all the information in there. I guess it's just not maybe good at explaining it, like it might have been the translation or whatnot. And there's a lot of information on BGG where people ask a lot of questions and people help clarify things for them. That, my friends, is Castaways. And here's the Castaways box right here. Castaways by Alberto Corral and Passport Studios, Passport Game Studios and Homeludicus. Fantastic, fantastic game. I really enjoy it. And it's something I'm definitely going to be bringing over to my next game group. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this video.